You'll make this rather snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Get It Right Texoma with the Texoma Trio, ourselves here, Mike Hendren, McAdams, Trace Sralla. So glad to have you back again.
Yes.
Real quickly, what is this all about? What do we do here? Well, we're trying to inform and entertain, we hope, a little bit.
Hopefully entertain, right?
Just a little bit. And also put kind of a local flair, a local spin on our flair on news and information of the day, right. Local events, happenings, and whatnot.
Local guests.
Right? Guests. We're gonna have a lot of guests on this podcast coming up. It's going to get a little busy with guests, I think, here pretty quickly. And I think I mentioned last time that Wichita Falls Mayor Tim Shortz going to be with us.
And also, former Mayor Stephen Santellana has also told me he'd like to come on the program as well.
Oh, okay.
Right.
All right.
I'm sure we can get likes of the people who are involved in the lake. The lake project or the
Ringgold, yeah.
Ringgold for sure.
Yeah.
But Steve Garner, I'd like to see him. I haven't talked to him, but
the Lake Wichita project.
Yeah,
too,
Lake Wichita. All the things that are going on, just things like that happen.
Right.
Well, we've got a bunch of candidate stuff we're going to talk about in this particular episode coming up here. Let's start here. The Wichita Falls Chamber's annual meeting, the 123rd annual meeting, just happened.
Yes.
Trey was there. In attendance,
yes,
covering the event.
Yeah, walked around with a reporter sheet. Now, it was a really good meeting. I'll tell you, Ron Kitchens, who is the chamber CEO, has been the chamber CEO for about 18 months, I believe.
Yeah, about that.
Very dynamic, great speaker, has a great vision for Wichita Falls and the area. And it was kind of a state of the chamber. And what they're looking for in this year, and they're looking at growing membership. I mean, that's going to be one of the biggest focuses on the chamber, is not just attracting businesses, but at growing membership. He did say, though, that Wichita Falls is in the running for several pretty good size contracts right now, or possible businesses, and talked about all the investment that is already coming into Wichita Falls. Once again, he's a very dynamic speaker. He's a very dynamic leader with the chamber. And it was really nice to see that group of people there. You had Representative Franks was there, and Jim Johnson, the county judge, was there, and Tim Short was there, and a lot of business leaders were there. Just kind of a who's who of business leaders that were there. And so it was a great meeting, very informative, very entertaining, and also very enlightening. But the best thing to do is get on the chamber mailing list. So if you'll contact the Wichita Falls Chamber of Commerce and get on their email, not a mailing list, it's an email list. They're soliciting for several groups. They're going to have, and I believe it's going to be in April, there's going to be a meeting or a gathering of about 250 people, I think, that they're going to talk about the vision of Wichita Falls.
Oh, good.
The culture of Wichita Falls.
Yeah.
So that's a great thing to look into. But like I said, get on the chamber email list. I also recommend, if James Frank, if you're watching this and James Frank is your state representative, get on James Frank email list. If some of these representatives and these city organizations, if you'll get on their email list, they send out a newsletter. Right. And it's a lot of good information. There's a lot of good information, a way to get good information, and read the damn thing.
Get informed.
That's right.
Get informed. We need to get Ron on this show.
Yeah, Ron. I think Ron would be great on the show as well.
He needs to be on this show.
Real quickly before we get into the candidate stuff, the Red Dead Culinary Academy, of which based in Wichita County, it's called Academy. It's not really an academy. It's a bunch of goobers who get together, and I'm one of them. I can say that we cook for charity, and cook for good causes. We're having our membership drive, and you always need members. It's all volunteer. It costs $100 to be a member. So, yes, you do pay, and then you volunteer, but it's a lot of fun. It's a great group of guys that gets together, and we cook for veterans, causes, first responders, raise money for a lot of charities. And the big hog hunt, the biggest one that's coming up, our annual event, is the hog hunt in Truscott, Texas. Big Country Veterans. We partner with Big Country Veterans, and we provide them meals for 3 days. And what they do is they bring veterans in, and they do helicopter hog hunts. Takes a lot of people to pull it off because it's, like I said, it's in Truscott, Texas. So everything has to be hauled, which, by the way, Truscott is the middle of nowhere.
Yes.
It's west of here, about an hour and a half.
Yep.
And you have to haul everything out there. So all the cooking, all the light generators and all that sort of stuff has to be hauled out there. I mean, there is electricity out there, but not to the extent that we need to support our mission. But anyhow, so if you want more information on being a member of Redneck Culinary Academy, or if you just want to make a donation, that'll be great. But hit me up, Trey at eddiehillsfuncycles.com, 940-322-4121. Facebook, this is going to be on Facebook if you see this on Facebook. And then also we'd like for you to like and subscribe. I don't know if it's subscribe, but like and share our Facebook page.
Yeah, definitely.
And the video, of course, will be on YouTube as well. We have a YouTube channel, so this is evolving, and we'll be better at this as time goes on. Yes.
Growing. Let's talk about some of these local candidate races, some of the contested races coming up. A couple of the big ones in Wichita and Clay County. Wichita Precinct 3. We actually have two Republican candidates running, one Democrat candidate running as well.
Yes, yeah, Barry Mahler, who I don't know how long Barry's been a county commissioner, but it seems like it's been quite some time.
I think he started in about 1890.
Yeah. But Barry's been a farmer here. He's been on the radio. He was on the radio for a long time.
And television, too.
Yes, television.
Yep. And
he's the current county commissioner, and he has drawn an opponent, Brad Wynn. I don't know anything about Brad.
I do not know
But Brad's going to contest Barry in the Republican primary.
Yeah.
And then former city councilor Deandra Chenault is actually running as a Democrat. And so whoever wins in between Barry and Brad will face Deandra, and she's the only Democrat that is run, so she's not going to have to primary. They will face her in the general election in November.
Okay, all right. So we will have an election in November. Deandra, I think she was the District 1 counselor.
District 2.
District 2 counselor? Yeah. District 2 counselor, okay. So, and she served for quite a while on the council.
Think she termed out. I believe she served. I think she served 3 terms in the city council. Yes.
Okay. Well, then over in Clay County, the sheriff's race. This is we've got 2 candidates there: Randy J. Hansen and Sidney Kirk Horton.
That's right. Yeah. Now, Wichita or Clay County Sheriff Jeff Lyde was actually convicted. Well, he may have reached a plea agreement instead of being convicted.
Maybe, yeah.
But he was charged with a felony count of basically, I don't remember the official suppression or something along those lines.
Suppression,
yeah. He held some people longer in the county jail than he was supposed to. That did go to trial, and either he was found guilty or there was a plea agreement. But the long story was, or the short story of that is, he actually spent some time in jail. I think he spent 30 days in jail.
Something like that.
And then he also lost his license to be a peace officer in Texas. It was actually removed to sheriff. At the time, Sidney Horton was the constable in Clay County, elected constable in Clay County. He was moved into interim sheriff, and then I believe the county commissioner court over there moved him to become the permanent sheriff following Lyde's removal as sheriff.
Right.
And so he is running for re-election now. So he was appointed. He never was elected in that position. He was appointed. But in the state of Texas, when you have any kind of election that, say, somebody's appointed into a spot, they have to run it doesn't matter what the election cycle is. They have to run at the next election cycle. So, for instance, I was on the school board. I was appointed my first term in the school board. I was actually appointed about 6 months into the guy that was elected to that position. He left the district, and I was appointed to the school board. The term is 4 years. I should not have had an election for another 4 years, but the next regular election cycle was 2 years because it alternates, and I had to run for election at that next regular cycle to be kind of affirmed as elected. Then I had to run again in 2 more years to get on the cycle.
And they kept you around for 12 more years.
Yes, 12 total. Yes, yeah.
Did you ever have an opponent?
No. Yeah, to say I won election on the school board would be a little bit of a farce. I was
Trace Sralla may be the only candidate that never had to buy a campaign sign.
Yeah, I served 12 years and never bought a campaign sign.
Well, but how do you become the president of the school board?
You're actually elected by the board.
Right.
Yeah.
So
the board elects its own leadership.
Our friends down in Archer County, directly to our south, North Texas, Archer County attorney. You've got 3 candidates there: Jordan Barron, Dan Branham, and Judy Rosenberger.
Yeah, there's some contested races there in Archer County. I don't really know enough about these races. I just about the people or anything like that. I just wanted to let people know that if you live in Archer County, which Wichita, if you're just for a little geographic standpoint, Wichita County, Archer County, and Clay County all converge right south of Wichita County. And so, in other words, this is kind of funny. If I am at Memorial Stadium, which is off Southwest Parkway in Wichita Falls, is obviously in Wichita County, and I live in Clay County, depending on the way I drive home, I can start in Wichita County, drive through Archer County, and be in Clay and spend the night in Clay County. So 3 counties, and it's 15 miles or something along those lines, 20 miles or something. So Archer County, they do have some contested races. County Commissioner Precinct 1, Wade Scarborough is the incumbent. Richard Shelley was the former county commissioner. He chose not to run. Wade ran last time, and I believe he won in a field of about 4 people. Mm-hmm. And now Richard Shelley's decided he wants to get back, become county commissioner again. He's running some pretty crazy ads. If you have a chance, go out on Facebook and Google search Richard Shelley campaign ads. I believe he's got one with John Wayne in it, and so, and then I think there's one with Willy Wonka is in it. It's a little different. So, but Richard Shelley's running some ads.
Okay.
Constable Precinct 1, Doug Strange is currently the constable, and he has an opponent, Chase Allison. And then County Commissioner Precinct 3, they have 5 people, looks like, running.
Good grief. Yeah, we got Lanny Hubbard, Abby Abernathy Jr., who I actually know Abby, Kendall Coleman, David Shoemeg, and Clifton Russell. I don't know any of the others, but that has got to be it's rare around here in local races. It's rare to have this many candidates vying for a single position. In fact, for a long time, it seemed, it was very common for someone, for example, to serve in, let's say, a school board position and run unopposed for multiple election cycles.
Yes.
Not have any opponents at all. And we saw that in city council races. We've seen it in county commissioner races. We've seen it in county judge races. We've seen it in multiple races in every county around here. But then it seems like here in recent years, we've got more people, and I think this is a good thing for the most part.
I agree.
We've got more people taking an interest in getting politically involved and running for a position, holding a position, and campaigning for a position. But it's unusual to have 5 people running for a county commissioner.
And I don't know that any of these are incumbents. That may be the reason. Generally, what you will find is that you could find, we could look that up. Generally, what you'll find when you have multiple people like that is generally there's an open seat.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you'll have, like, for instance, Wade Scarborough, he is currently serving, and Doug Strange are currently serving, and they've drawn opponents.
Right.
That's not unusual, but they didn't draw 5 opponents.
Well, but when you've got 5 opponents, unless you've got one candidate that is a really, really super strong candidate that's almost guaranteed to pull a tremendous amount of support, there's a good chance you're going to a runoff election.
That's true.
Because no one person's going to be able to hit that magic 50% plus 1 or whatever the formula is. You're not going to hit that. So you're going to have a runoff election, which means another 30 days of campaigning. It's just the way it's going to be. So anyway, we'll see how that plays out. State Senate. Trey, let's talk a little bit about that because we've got a state senator who's retiring, basically.
Correct. Yeah, Drew Springer.
Drew Springer. And I guess this is his position.
Yes.
That all of these. So we've got, let's see, we've got what, 1, 2, 3. We got 4 Republicans, 3 Democrats.
That's correct.
So there will be a race in. Obviously, we're going to have a primary contest in both Republican and Democrat fields here, and then the winner in the Republican, winner of the Democrat will face each other in November. So we won't know until November who that new senator is going to be.
That's correct.
Specifically. But it's going to be one of these people. Brent, is it Hagenbach?
Hagenbach.
Jay Scarborough, Cody Clark, and Carrie DeMoore.
Who's actually a physician. She's a doctor.
She's a doctor. Dr. DeMoore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All running on the Republican ticket. And then on the Democratic ticket, Michael Braxton, Matthew McGehee, and Dale Fry.
That's correct.
All running. I don't know that I know any one of them personally.
Yeah, I went to the candidate forum. There was a candidate forum at Midwestern State University a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And I heard all of them speak and met all of them, except for Matthew McGee. He was not there. On the Democrat side, Michael Braxton is a preacher, and he's a barber. I think he said he's been a barber for 51 years and a preacher for like 32 years or something like that. Great speaker. In fact, I told him afterwards, I went up and shook his hand. And obviously, he's Democrat, and his substance was not great, but he sure had a great speaking voice. And I told him I'd shook his hand and said, I'd like to come listen to you preach sometime. Come to your church.
Yeah.
He kind of looked at me stunned, but it's true. I mean, this guy had a great delivery. Dale Fry seemed way out of his element. He's from the Northeast or something like that. He didn't really know much about. He said he married a Texas girl and kind of ended up here. Didn't seem to know a whole lot about Texas politics or North Texas politics and that sort of thing.
He's going to get an education.
Yeah, he kind of seemed lost. Brent Hagenbach on the Republican side. Brent Hagenbach has gotten, I believe, Abbott and Dan Patrick and I believe Drew Springer's endorsements. So he's some pretty big endorsements. He was. I'll be honest with you. He was pretty underwhelming as far as his performance goes.
Really?
Yes, he really was. He wasn't a very good communicator. He read his notes on his phone like this, which, by the way, if you're going to give a speech and read it, please don't read off your damn phone. I hate that. Yeah. This is so much more impactful than this. Yeah. I don't know. But anyhow.
You look more distracted.
Exactly. I don't know. There's just something about it.
On your phone.
But he read a lot of notes on there. He wasn't a great communicator.
Yeah.
Jay Scarborough, on the other hand, was very impressive. He's a younger guy. He's an attorney. And he seems like he has a lot of the conservative values that align with a lot of the people in this part of the world.
Yeah.
Very impressive speaker. Gave some great answers.
Yeah.
Cody Clark seems like a really nice guy. He's a former Denton police officer, and he works with people with special needs now. I think he spends a lot of time in Austin lobbying and that sort of thing with special needs groups. He did focus a lot on that, though, which I found a little bit strange because it's kind of one of those, it's like you're talking about the state Senate seat. There's like, 31 or something? There's not very many.
Not very many.
You're talking about a huge swath of people. And while people with special needs are very important, they're only a small minority of the people you're trying to appeal to.
And Senate District 30 is quite large.
Yes, it is. And then Dr. DeMoore got up there. She's a very good communicator. Apparently, she had decided to run. She was going to primary Springer. Before Springer decided not to run. So she made the comment that she's the only person on the stage that already knew that she was going to be up there before everybody else did because she had already planned to run.
Well, I was going to say, because the only campaign signs that I've seen so far is Dr. DeMoore's.
I've seen a couple of Yarborough's as well.
Okay. I've seen at least 3 or 4 for Dr. DeMoore around the area, just driving around, because I'm a real estate agent, so I'm in my car a lot. I drive a lot. And I've seen 3 or 4 of her signs around. She's the only one I've noticed. And I have heard, just not met her, but I've talked to some people, and they seem to be very impressed and very, very impressed with her.
She was a great communicator. She almost, this is my opinion, she almost came across like she was playing the angry white guy. The ultra-conservative, I mean, really? It was almost like it was, and maybe I'm not saying she's not, but you know how sometimes it seems like people almost go over the top a little bit?
Yeah.
And it almost seemed like she was that over-the-top, I'm super conservative. I'm way more conservative than everybody else type thing. And maybe it wasn't. Maybe that's who she is. It just seemed a little bit put on. But she was a very good communicator. There's no doubt about it. Now, the very interesting thing in this race, though, is there is some question whether Brent Hagenbach is even eligible to be in this race.
Really?
Yes. He does not. His primary residence is listed. His primary residence has not been in Senate District 30. He has a business, and I believe his business is listed as his primary residence. But it's kind of one of those. So many people are going, this guy doesn't live here,
right?
And I believe Cody Clark actually alluded to that on the stage the other night. Jay Sherborough, I believe, has filed either a lawsuit or a complaint with the Ethics Commission. I believe Carrie DeMoore has as well. I believe she's filed something as well. So we'll see. I don't know if Hagenbach's going to make it to the election or not, but that's I do have a little bit of a problem with that. There are rules, and you have to live in a specific area to run for a specific position.
There are residency requirements.
That's right. And if it's shady and cloudy, I don't know about that. I don't care for that. I don't care for that ambiguity. And if you're talking about technically his company owns a property here in Senate District 30, so therefore he can run. Well, yeah, but does he really live there? And has he lived there? And will he continue to live there? I don't know.
Part of the philosophy in having someone live in your district and having a requirement on the length of time they've been there and the residency and all that is you want someone who actually has the interest of those constituents at heart.
And you live by the rules that you pass, the laws you pass.
But you want someone who understands, Senate District 30, big district, but you need someone who understands this district. Mm-hmm. Our needs are not necessarily the same as those of District 24 or whatever.
Damn sure not Harris County.
No, I mean we are our interest and our desires for our region are going to differ from others, even though we're in the same state, and we're going to have there's going to be different touch points that they need to attack as a candidate and as an elected official. And so we absolutely have to have someone who has our interest at heart, who understands our needs, who understands what this district is going through and what this district needs in order to succeed.
Yeah, what does it say there, Terry?
Well, part of the sub-headline, it says that a last-minute court filing claims that he, what's his name?
Hagenbach.
Yeah, Hagenbach. Yeah, Dan, or not Dan. But anyway, he's lives in a corporate apartment in the district is the deal there. And that also shows, even if he's technically meets the requirement, that's still, and of course that's the part where we have to decide as voters, whether that's meaningful.
When you're the guy that's getting the big endorsements, when you've got the governor's endorsement, and you've got the current senator's endorsement, or you've got other senators' endorsements,
and the lieutenant governor's endorsement. When you've got those endorsements behind you, that draws attention to you, and all of a sudden you start to build this name recognition because of those endorsements, because those people who already have the prominence, now they're talking about you. That's building your name recognition. But that if he's not legally qualified to be in the race, I don't think the endorsements can matter.
Yeah,
they just can't. You got to look at. Like Trey said, there are rules. You got to follow the rules. You got to live. These elected officials make the dadgum rules. Live by them.
Yeah, and I just, to me, I just have some heartburn. And he may be a great person. Don't get me wrong. He may be a great state senator. I don't know, but I have a little bit of heartburn when it's like one of those. I live in a corporate apartment. That's not your primary residence.
No.
I'm sorry. Have you been living there? Does your family live there with you? Or do you have a corporate apartment that you spend a few nights a week in? I mean, I don't like the cloud. I don't like the cloud overshadowing.
I know people who, for example, their home is in Wichita Falls. but they have a job in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex.
Right.
They have an apartment there or an Airbnb or whatever, and they go there, and 4 or 5 days a week they're staying in that apartment. And then on the weekends they come home, and they're with their family here. But they go down there, and the only reason they have that apartment or whatever there is because that's where the job is. It's physically and economically very demanding, obviously, to drive 2.5 or 3 hours one way or each way every day. So rather than do that, they have an apartment down there. They go down Monday morning, they go to their job Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, stand in their apartment. Friday night, they get off work, head home, and they stay here until Monday morning. And I know a couple of people that have done that for several years like that.
Yeah.
They've done that, because they're making, pretty fabulous money down there, but they can live a whole lot cheaper up here.
Well, or also you think about, you have people that actually, some of these people that work on these offshore rigs, they'll live somewhere for 30 days.
Yeah.
They literally leave and live somewhere for 30 days. Well, that isn't established residency there. No. They're not going to live on that offshore rig for the rest of their lives.
No.
I mean, that's not where they do reside there 30 days. Basically a lot of them reside there for 6 months out of the year.
Yeah.
If you think about it, if you're 30 days on and 30 days off, 30 days on, 30 days off, so you reside on an oil rig in the the North Sea 6 months out of the year, it doesn't make you a permanent. You can't run for Chancellor of Scotland because you live in the North. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the requirement by the state, by state law, says that you have to be by the time you take office, I guess is what it's saying. Some about November 5th is a date, but in this case, you have to. Before November 5th of next year, you have to have lived there a year. So that means he had to live there last November 5th. And what they're saying is he voted in October, apparently, in a different district. Right.
Yeah, so that's what
I'm sorry. He early voted in the November 2023 election on October 29th inside Senate District 12. So it's one of the things. So
and in order to be eligible to vote there, he would.
So he must have moved, threw a vote down and moved. I mean,
because he then he's claiming that he's been living in the $1 a quarter in rent. He pays $1 as the agreement apparently with his Neat Enterprises, whoever that is.
He has a trucking company, is what he has.
And then he owes he pays $1 in rent per quarter to there, and so there you go. That's the claim. So
that's cloudy. Whether it's legitimate or not, or whether it's a letter of the law. You have the letter of the law and the spirit of the law, folks.
Oh, sure.
The spirit of the law, the letter of the law is okay. I technically moved there and I technically lived there 1 year, but is that really the spirit of the law? Is it the whole reason behind that? I mean, I think the spirit behind the law is you have to have a year's residence there.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to say that you can't move somewhere and say you relocate your family and you're precluded from holding political office there, which I understand that. But I think that's the spirit of the law is that you don't move into a place to get a political office.
But I do think that ideally that you don't want someone moving to a location simply because they want to be able to run for political
That's exactly
office.
right. That's true.
You don't want that. You do want, and I think anywhere you go, this is the attitude you're going to find. We want people to run for office who are part of our community, part of our area, they do have a personal connection, and they have a passion for what we're passionate about.
Right.
That's the people that we want. Those are the people that we want. You don't want someone relocating to your area just to give themselves an advantage to be able to run for political office, and they don't know anybody there and don't understand anything about you or very little. You don't want that. And I don't think anybody really wants that. I think we all want people that we feel like truly care about who we are and where we are and what we stand for.
Don't hack the system.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's it. The tech guy came out of the tech. Yeah.
Real quick here. President Joe Biden, I guess the DOJ has declined to file charges in the unsecured documents investigation. classified and even top secret documents were found in Biden's garage. There's a now famous photo of a box that's literally falling apart that contains documents that are actually marked as top secret. If it's marked top secret, that means there's a national security risk in that information being leaked to anyone. That's why it's considered top secret.
And the crazy thing is, like Trump's defense is, I was the president, I can declassify anything at any time. These were documents that were taken while he was vice president, not the president. He can't fall on even that defense because he does not have as vice president. You don't have declassification privileges.
Well, one of the arguments here has been that the difference between the two cases is, well, Joe Biden, they discovered that he had the documents and they turned them over and they cooperated from day one with the investigation. Trump, on the other hand, had multiple requests to turn documents back over and refused or didn't respond or whatever. Okay. This is the part, though, that gets me. Joe Biden has been referred to. Who made this? Oh, Special Counsel Robert Robert
Hur. Yeah, I didn't do a space there between.
Hurabout.
No, Hur. Robert Hur.
Hur.
I'm sorry.
Special Counsel Robert Hur about the classified.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't spell check myself here.
I misread.
If I'd had a PC from MacTech Solutions, I might have checked it right. Yeah.
Robert Hur, Ben Hur's fourth cousin twice from.
There you go. Yeah.
Anyway, Special Counsel Robert Hur.
Better than being related to Ben Hur than bend over, huh?
Woo!
Go ahead. Sorry.
In talking about the classified documents issue as it relates to President Joe Biden, he referred to the president as, quote, a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory, end quote.
He can't stand trial, but he can run the goddamn country.
People, listen to me. Listen to me. Joe Biden has dementia. I see it. Millions of other people see it. People like myself who have actually been a caregiver for someone suffering from dementia. We know and understand what the hallmarks of the disease are. He has those hallmarks. He has those signs. He has dementia. We don't know what kind. We don't know to what degree. We can only assume on that because the White House physician will not talk about it, doesn't discuss it. We don't know what kind, if any, actual cognitive tests have been done on the president to make a determination as to what level of dementia. But the man's got dementia. He's not just a well-meaning elderly man with a bad memory. The man is suffering from serious cognitive impairment. And this is the thing that everybody better remember about this. This doesn't get any better.
No.
This doesn't improve. It doesn't reverse itself. There is no drug that reverses it.
Because you have to assume that Joe Biden has the best medical care available in the world right now. He has access to the top medical care.
And I want him to. As the President of the United States,
absolutely,
as the Commander-in-Chief of our nation's military forces, I want that guy to have the best medical care available.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't give a damn what it costs. I want him to have the best medical care out there. I want this guy to be protected and healthy.
Don't care if he has a D or an R next to his name. Makes zero difference.
Makes no difference. But dadgummit, he's got dementia. It's not going to get any better, y'all. This isn't going to improve. And with all dementia patients, you reach a point where that patient is on the cliff's edge, and when they fall off that cliff, it's free fall. And everything starts to degrade very rapidly. And I believe that that's where President Biden is right now.
Well, I think
he's in the free fall.
Yeah.
And one morning, you're going to wake up, and you're going to hear one of two stories. It's going to leak out. There's no stopping it. You're going to hear one or two stories about Joe Biden. He is either bedridden and unable to speak, or he's deceased. That's what's going to happen to Joe Biden. And it's not going to – this man's not going to live another 4 years. He's not going to. I don't personally don't believe he's going to make it another 4 years to serve another term, because once you go off that cliff with dementia, it is absolutely free fall, and the next stop is you're done.
Well, he did a press conference when he was addressing this, and it was a train wreck.
Oh,
the press conference is a train wreck.
He even had a pause in his thinking, and whatever he did, he just had an episode.
That's because you're struggling. This is what I believe, and I've had a couple of doctors I've talked with that kind of reinforce this theory. I believe with dementia patients, there are things firing off up here, and you know what you need to say, but your brain cannot translate it out, either in written form or spoken form. You just can't translate it out. It gets stuck in there, and you're struggling to try to figure out, how do I say this? You're trying to force your body to say it, and you can't do it. And it's one of the hallmarks of dementia. He's got it, guys. Right. And I'm not saying this to be mean-spirited. I'm not saying this because I don't support the guy politically. I'm saying this because it's the damn truth.
Well, it's not funny. By the way, this is not funny anymore. No. This was a little comical early on. No. It's not funny anymore. It's sad. It's sad that there's a guy. He happens to be the president of the United States, but even if he wasn't, you think about the pressure that his family's putting him under.
Oh my God!
I mean, you're the president of the United States.
Elder abuse.
I think it is. I mean, you think about it. The president of the United States has to be one of the most pressure-filled jobs in the history of the world, right? And his family keep pushing him out there, and not just his family, his party, and the people are relying on him because number two is not any better. And I really believe we talked about this 4 years ago, that we believe that the strategy was get Biden elected, stick Kamala Harris in there, and then have this person could slide in and be the first black female, first female and first black female president. And then they realized what an idiot she is, and how she, from a standpoint. Now, Kamala Harris is not an unintelligent person. She's a litigator. She has advanced degrees, but she has no common sense, and I think she's a narcissist. She doesn't want to get better. She doesn't want to improve. So they thought they were going to get her out there. You predicted he wouldn't last 24 months. Well, I think they've drug him along because they think, what's the alternative?
Well, so, I mean, come on. What are we going to start playing Weekend at Bernie's here?
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, what are we going to do?
Are they going to parachute? The question is, are they going to parachute somebody in at the Democratic National Convention?
Well, that's the theory that a lot of people have. Is that's what's going to happen?
It's Michelle Obama is
or Gavin Newsom.
Well,
Gavin, oh Lord.
Our own Senator Ted Cruz has postulated that it will be Michelle Obama, that they will parachute her in during the Democratic National Convention, which happens in August, and there is a process for doing this. But there's the president has a very serious cognitive issue. I believe it is some form of dementia. It could be Alzheimer's. It could be any one of a dozen other forms of dementia. It could be a lot of things. But the fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter what form he has. It will not get better.
That's true.
This does not improve, and it's as you said, very high pressure job. You're not just the nation's diplomat to the world. You are literally at the helm of one of the greatest economies, one of the greatest military powers, and one of the greatest nations, if not the greatest nation, that has ever existed in human history. And the world is looking at us.
And by the way, I can tell you from my wife's family who live in England, or English citizens, they say he is a laughingstock in England right now.
I know.
They said the press over in England is having a field day about all of his gaffes. So anyway.
It's terrible. Well, guys, we got to wrap this up. We've run a little long here on this. Guys, thank you for joining us again. You can obviously, if you're watching this, you're seeing it on YouTube. So the video podcast will be on YouTube. We've got the audio portion coming to Spotify and Apple Podcasts and whatever other platform we can buy our way into, because we will. But anyway, until next time, thank you for joining us for Get It Right Texoma with the Texoma Trio, Mike, Terry, and Trey, and we will see you next time. Take care. We'll see you down the road.